Hey, what's up, all you space lovers? It's Craziness of the Internet here, back with another episode of EVE Online. Today, we're going to get into teaching you Capsuleers, aka pilots, how to get yourselves into your factions, factional warfare zones, and get yourselves enlisted into factional warfare. Now, there is pros and cons to this. One of the first things you're going to want to do is go over when you're docked in a station to your Neocom menu at the top left, which brings down the massive drop-down menu for all the commands. In there, you always go Activities, and then you can see factional warfare. Another thing you can do is you can hold it down and select it, and you can drag it over and drop it into the hotbar. Once you've selected factional warfare, you can see that the faction that you've chosen, or the faction that you're about to choose, its war zone will come up on your screen. So this right here, as this character I created was a Galente faction chosen character, so I went ahead and enlisted it the other day into the Galente faction's factional warfare zones. So as you can see right here, this is all of the systems that Galente and the Caldari nation fight for. So all of these systemal zones you can enter, and you can fight for loyalty points, you can PvP, and you can do NPC style missions using the agent finders for loyalty missions, and you can also do points of interest inside of these zones, which are kind of newer to EVE Online. We'll get into that later in other videos. But for now, the main things you want to do is you want to choose the faction that you want to enlist yourself in, and you can go to the bottom here and click, so you can see that this is the Caldari one, and here is the Galente one. Still, you can see that in the Galente and Caldari, as they fight each other, they will have the same map. And then you can see the Amar one down here. They're in the southern eastern part of the EVE universe. Here we got the Minmatar race. It's the same map as the Amar one. Now remember, to win the factional warfare, it could take pretty much however long it takes all of you guys as a group, whether there's 100 of you, 200 of you, 10,000, to work together and claim all of the systems in the factional warfare zones. Now, one of the main things to remember also when it comes to factional warfare is there is also two pirate factions. Now, the difference between these pirate factions is you have the Guristas and the Angel Cartel. So you have the Angel Cartel right here, and you have the Gurista Pirates right here. What I find very interesting about this is, if you were a Caldari or a Galente pilot, and you trained Caldari and Galente skills, you will actually want to use the Gurista pirate ships, because these ships right here, if I open up the ship menu right here on the ship tree, you can see that when I go Gurista pirates, how to increase the ship's abilities is I would use Caldari and Galente ship and training skill bonuses. But because this faction is at war with the Caldari and Galente empires, if you were to join this pirate faction and start to achieve glorious victories in it and start to gain traction in it, you will actually start to lower your standings with the main factions. That maybe you go to Jita all the time, maybe use that market hub, so maybe this character that you have, you might not want to be doing that, so you lower your Caldari standing so that the Navy can shoot you. Also, when you are a pirate, all of those factions will open fire on you with their navies, as you're pretty much basically a suspect, little criminal always to them, which is also hilarious. But the pirate aspect of the game should be left alone for elite PvPers and people that have a full understanding of what's going to be going on in the pirate part of the game, or maybe you have a friend that has already played EVE Online for a very long time and you're a newer player, and they can show you what you need to do if you want to join that pirate stuff. So when it comes to the pirate factions, the things that you should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to factional warfare, we will get into that into later videos, but for now let's just head on back over to our basic factional warfare. Now, once one side achieves full victory, meaning once you've acquired all of the zones, you will get into one final fight at the hub, and then each player will be granted a massive bonus of LP for all of the PvP ship kills that you got, I believe, along the way. So you get bonuses for combat, bonuses for being a part of this. So the more that you interacted with yourself and the more that you help the Empire, if you stay all the way till the end and try to fight and obtain all of the things. Now, the pros and cons of factional warfare space is the pros would be you can earn loyalty points, and these loyalty points can be exchanged for faction modules or faction ships along the market, which you can then sell for either ISK, or you could use the LP to continuously fund your combat, meaning you can use the LP to buy new faction ships. So in my example, for this empire, when I used the Galente, I would be exchanging so that I could use things like the Federation Navy Comet, the Navy Mollusk, maybe the Navy Catalyst Destroyer. I can work all of my way up to these Navy ships by completing the sites and earning my way in my factional warfare's empire and obtaining the LP. Now, one of the main questions people always ask themselves is, what ship should I fly? What should I do when I enter factional warfare? Where do I go? What's the main things that will happen? Well, one of the first things that will happen when you join factional warfare is you get the militia window. And here you can talk and chat with every other player that's in the militia. So you can join fleets, link up with other people. Even if you're solo, you can find something to do with those other players. But if you're low on ISK and you need like ways to make money and things like that, I also have fast little builds right here. So this right here, as you can see, is a Tristan. This thing costs absolutely nothing. You basically want to work yourself up to so that you have Tech 2 drones on the smalls if you're gonna farm LP. See right here, if I go over to my wallet and I click right here where it says LP Corporations, you can see that I have 380,000 LP with the Federal Defense Union. So basically that's the LP stores that you want to be looking for. These are the best places where you'd be able to exchange and trade your LP for faction ships. If I simulate this ship right here, you can see that it costs literally nothing, like 3 million ISK. If you literally don't even have a ship or you need some money, everybody in the EVE community is very welcoming, and I'm sure if you just went into the militia here and went, I don't have a ship, guaranteed 100% somebody would send you a ship. People would start contracting you ships, stuff like that. But all you would basically need is this ship right here, just a few million ISK, and this thing will allow you to make hundreds if not billions of dollars in ISK, and it'll take you absolutely no effort whatsoever. The only thing you can do with this ship is the Navy smalls and the small outposts. You have to make sure that you never go to the medium ones, and that when you're doing the small advanced ones, make sure that it doesn't say 5. It has a little bit more buff than if it was to say advanced 1, because 5 people can go in there and obtain the same amount of LP as 1 person would. If it says small advanced 1, then that means that only 1 person will get all of the LP in the site, or if there's 5 of you, then it'll be split amongst all 5 of you evenly, so the rewards will be reduced. You only need about 100 to 123 DPS to be able to do all of the smalls flawlessly. What I do is I add this target painter here, so if a lot of you don't know, people will be like, oh, why did you put the target painter on there, crazy? Well, what it actually does is if I go over here and I look at the target painter and I go and show you guys the attributes. So yeah, the range 30 kilometers, because we're actually going to be sitting most of the time around 28 kilometers from the entry site, which allows you distance and can give you a chance to warp away if anybody comes in, especially if they're like a brawler afterburner fit. So when you can see right here, this is going to increase their signature radius by 25%. So if a lot of you guys don't know in EVE Online, if you can get someone's signature radius increased over 50%, it's actually like 0.5. So basically what I mean by that is you see these hobgoblin ones. So the fastest way I could explain this without bringing up the great spreadsheet, because you know EVE Online is the spreadsheet game of our existence sometimes, but they're working against that, and so far it's getting better. If I were to look at the hobgoblin one and I add the target painter to a target, these now become hobgoblin 1.5s, if that makes any sense. That's basically what's happening. So as a lower skilled toon, you don't have the skills right now because maybe you didn't get your friend's link for that free sweet million skill points, which you'll see down in the description. You can go ahead, if you've never used one, and use my link, which will actually give you 1,000,000 skill points. But if you've never used one of those and you're just training slow, and especially if you're an alpha pilot, because this is alpha friendly, but you'll train 2 times slower than an omega pilot, so it'll take you longer to get that drones 5 and drones small drones operations level 5 so that you can use Tech 2 drones. I do believe that's what it is. So if I go requirements right here, variations, hobgoblins 2, requirements A, you need light drones operations 5 and drones 5. Each one of these drones levels will allow you to launch one drone. So if I got level 5, I can launch 5. If I got 3, I can only launch 3. And then light drones operation 5 will allow me to use the Tech 2 drones. Once you can use the Tech 2 drones, you literally just wreck everything in these small sites super fast, because that's the goal. Kill it as fast as we can, get the timer back going so that we can get the LP and get out of there before any enemies show up. So I got some Tristans already pre-set up, you guys, over in the warfare zone. So I'm just going to go ahead and warp myself over there. So next time I see you guys, I will already be in the ship, and we'll get into what it's like to go into the sites and how this ship works and the fastest ways that you can make LP to ISK ratio while you're in factional warfare. Alright guys, we are back now, and I'm in one of the factional warfare contested systems. It'll tell you where you are with this little icon right here, so I'm over here. The highlighted ones will get higher bonus, so this is like the invasion parts, and this is like the backline considered parts. So this is frontlining, backlining. So technically up here in this little cluster, I'm in the backline. So what you're going to do is you go over to the navy ones. Remember, the easiest way to look for these sites is to right click in space and bring down the drop down menu and go anomalies. The ones that you always want to look for is the Caldari or Galente Scout, Navy, and Small Navy. The other ones are a little stronger. Remember, once you're inside the sites right here, you want to go ahead and lock up your target and start engaging it. And then you see this structure right here. It's called the Caldari Small Outpost Structure. Go ahead and click on it, and then over here in your selected item overview tab, right click where it says set default range, keep it range. Now remember, 1,000 meters is a kilometer. So as you can see, I have mine set to 27,500, which is 27.5 kilometers. Once you're in a straight line with the structure, you just go ahead and click on it and then keep at range 28 kilometers. So the reason why you do this is where you entered the combat site down there. You are now set to like 30 kilometers from that entry point. So you're in like a pretty safe area and a pretty safe zone from the entry point. So if anyone comes in and tries to engage you, you can just quickly warp away, especially if they're afterburner fit and you're a micro warp drive. They'll actually have no way of catching you, and you'll just warp away freely. Alright, so you can see that he's down. Now the timer will begin on the site right here. Once you hold the site, you'll be rewarded with LP. It's basically like King of the Hill, and you've got to make sure that you're inside the zone right here that you can see when I zoom out. The little red circle, you got to make sure that you're inside that at all times. If you go outside of it, then the timer won't go down. So this is why I'm on the very edge of it, to make sure that I'm in a safe distance from my enemies, and to make sure that also the timer doesn't stop ticking down. Now once your drones are out and launched and you've engaged the first NPC and killed it, the actual advantage to being able to sit like this on top of using the drones is that when the next NPC spawns and begins to engage and attack you, the drones will automatically engage the NPC, so you don't have to worry about locking the target and engaging it and stuff like that. You do want to lock it and a target painter it if you want to use that, but sometimes you can just remain AFK in the smaller ship sites and you don't have to do anything. As you can see, this is just hobgoblin ones, so I'm showing you guys that you can do these in just a basic fitted ship. And the reason why we're doing this is we need to acquire, the moment we join factional warfare, if we're low on funds, we need to acquire LP for a couple hours so that we can use this LP to exchange it for ships and ISK and other items that'll help us further our adventure in the factional warfare zones. Alright guys, we're about to finish the site here, so once it's complete, you'll see a thing pop up and it'll tell you that you've captured the site. Bam, we captured the site. Now we've got our standings increased, we get more loyalty points. If you want to see where your loyalty points are, remember to open up your wallet and click over here on your LP, and you can see that I have all this much LP right here. And you spend that inside the Federation. Guys, so once you have your LP now from your faction, whether it's Galente, Caldari, Amar, or the Minminto Republic. Remember, once you're inside your wallet and you can see the LP tab right here, so now I'm going to go show info on the Federal Defense Union, and then in the tabs right here you're going to go stations. And here's where it'll show you where all of the high and low sec system stations are located. So any of these stations you can go and redeem your loyalty points for items, no matter what items you want, whether it's ammo, implants, ships, all kinds of stuff. You just go ahead and find one and right click set destination and choose the one that is closest to you. So that's all you guys need to know for the basics of getting into factional warfare and getting yourself started so that you can acquire some quick LP and get some quick ships. You can also do this in every other faction. It doesn't really have to be just this specific ship, but if you guys are looking on ways to obtain even more ISK and maybe Omega your account from an alpha account or something like that, go ahead and catch me in the next video, as I'm going to be showing you guys what is the fastest way to get LP so that you can go from an alpha and Omega your account, or if maybe you just want to casually hang out for a day and just earn a couple billion ISK. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.